Good day, everyone. Today we're going to do a follow-up video for the video that we did for the emergency police vehicle. So someone was asking if it's possible to turn on and off the lights and also to change the color. So as you can see here, I have two police vehicles, one with the normal color, so red and blue, and one with modified color. So if I click on the first one here, I can turn off the lights, so there is no more emergency lights, and I can turn the lights back on, and I can also turn off the modifier, so it's going to go back to red and blue. I can also duplicate this vehicle, and with this vehicle I can now modify the color as I wish. So I'm going to put, for an example, green, and I'm going to make sure that the modify is checked on. I'm going to put green here again, and green for this one here. So as you can see here, now everything is green when the other vehicle keep their own color. And you can also change the pod light here. So I can click there and put red if I want to. And you can also modify one of the two color for the police lights. So I'm going to put red for an example. So now I have green, red for my police vehicle. And I can also take the middle one and say, you know what, no lights for this one, but this one will have lights or modify light. So I can do exactly what I want. So we're gonna see exactly how to do this. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to go to our master material for our police lights, and we're just gonna go right in it. So double click, and here we need to make sure that it's convert to a parameter. So just in case, so we're gonna click on this, and if it's something like this with the color, make sure you click on this and do convert to parameter. And we're gonna call this one blue color. So both of them need to be a parameter and have their own name. So blue color and red color. And we're gonna save this, and we can now close this up and going back to our content browser. So back to the content browser. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create an original one, and we're gonna create a modified one. So we're just gonna click on this, we're gonna duplicate it, and this one will be called m underscore modified underscore police. And the police one, I'm gonna just rename it to original underscore police. So I have two. So I'm gonna use this one to modify the color for what I want, and having this one for only the red and blue, as we saw in the video a little bit earlier. So the other step now is going to our blueprint for our vehicle. So we're gonna go to our blueprint for the police vehicle. And here it's how we're gonna do all the logic that we need. So the variable that we have to do, a couple of them so we can do our code correctly. But first, I'm gonna rename all the static mesh because I don't like names. So I'm gonna pod light because I was saying at the beginning that it's pod light. So this one would be pod light 0, that one would be pod light 1. I'm gonna modify this one for pod light 2, and the other one for pod light 3. There we go. So now the pod light, or those little lights here on each side of the vehicle, one here and one here. So we are done with this. So we're gonna start and create our variable. So the first variable we're gonna create, we're gonna call this modified lights color blue, and the type will be a linear color. So let's just search for linear color, and we're gonna take this, and now we can duplicate this one. So let's duplicate this, and this one will be our red. And so we have the modify, and we have the red color. So the modify for both of them need to be instant editable. So make sure that we check this box for both, so the red and the blue. And now we have this. So we need also a normal color for that. Gonna duplicate this once again, and this one will be named, instead of modified, will be called original. And we're going to do the same thing for the red. We're going to call that original, and same as before. So the blue here for the original, this time the original, we don't want to be able to edit the color, so we're going to uncheck both of the instant editable, and we're going to compile it. So the modify has instant editable for both of them, and the original has no edit for it. So we're all good with this. The next one will be our boolean. So we're going to create a boolean, And this one will be modified color, and we're going to make sure the type is a boolean, and this one also need to be editable, so we're going to edit this one, and we're going to duplicate this one once again, but this one will be called lights on. So now we have our two variables that's going to help us to modify our color and have our lights on for our vehicle. So we're going to create another variable, but this one will refer to the pod. So those one here. Let's duplicate. We're going to have original, and we're going to have also the modify. So we're going to copy, not copy, but duplicate the original, and those one will be called pod lights and with no editable. And we're going to take one of the modified, and we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to call that the modified pod light, but this time the modified pod light need to be instant editable. I believe that we're good with that for now. We're going to start with our code. So we're going to go to the event construct, so not the event graph, but the construct script here, because we want that to work right from the start when we start our game. So from the parent construction here, we're going to search for branch, and this branch will decide if the lights for the vehicle is on or off. So we're going to take our boolean, and we're going to plug it right there. So by default, our boolean need to have the lights on. So we're going to make sure we check this, and we can compile. So we're going to do another branch. So let's do another branch. So let's search for branch, and this branch will be for our modified color. So we're going to take the modified color here, and we're going to put right there. So the modified color, same as the lights, we're going to make sure that is checked by default. So here, if it's true, we're going to modify our color, and if it's not true, we're going to keep the original color. So that's very simple, but it's just take a long time because it's a lot of same thing over and over. What we're going to do from false, we're going to drag from false. I'm going to go up here, and we are going to search for create a dynamic material, and it's going to be an instant, and the instant will be the one for the all trans here. So the all trans refer to our police vehicle, to the lights here, and you can see the all trans is this one with a couple of elements in it. So we're going to play with the elements 3 and the elements 1. So we're going to go back to our construction script right here. So we have the lights, the emergency lights, and we're going to drag from the element index here, and we're going to promote that to not to a local variable. I'm going to remove that, but I'm going to promote this to just a normal variable. So just get variable, and this one will be named value headlight, and the value headlight will refer to number 1. So we're going to compile so we can have access to the default value 1. So 1 referred to, when we click here on the trans, to this one here. So this one here, that element 1, is the lights here and there. And the element 3, it's going to be the top bar here. Okay, so we're going to go back, and we're going to do exactly the same thing, but this time it's going to be for the light bar. So we're just going to take this. We can just Control C and Control V, or you can just duplicate with Control D, I believe. Is it Control D? Yes, perfect. And we're going to connect this one also right here, but you can see we can only connect one at a time, right? So what we're going to do exactly, we're just going to do a sequence. So we're going to drag from this and do a sequence. So let's search for sequence, or you can also hold S on your keyboard and do sequence. So we're going to have the sequence here, and the sequence will be connected up here and up there. So now we have both of them, so we're all good. We're going to take a little bit more space here. This one refer to the headlight of the vehicle, and this one will refer to the bar on the top, so the vehicle light bar. So I'm going to put value, so value light bar. Okay, and we're going to compile, and this one will have the index 3, and we're going to compile this. So now you can see there's an error because I have no target. The target need to be this one. So we're going to put that right in the middle and connect this right there. So now the next step is having our material, right? The source, sorry, for our material. We're going to promote to a variable, and this one we're going to call this source material, but it's gonna be the original source material. So we're gonna original source material, and we're gonna plug that both here. We're gonna compile so we can access to the default value, and the default value with this will be our police material that we did, but we're gonna take the original right here. So now we have our headlight and our bar that will work. So we're gonna continue our code here. Now from that, we're gonna drag and we're gonna set vector. So set the vector parameter, and we're gonna take the number 2 here because it needs to be the material instant dynamic and not this one here. Okay, so make sure it's material instant dynamic. Now we're gonna take this one and we're gonna connect the return value. We can just copy that for the one under as well. And here it's where we're going to start to put our color. So this one will have the blue color, and we're going to copy that and put it right there. And we're going to duplicate this once again. And we're going to plug it, and we're going to make the target to the return value right there as well. And this one, instead of blue, is going to be the red. As you remember, in our material here, right, in the original, we have the blue here and the red. So it's exactly what I'm referring to. So I'm going to put that up there. So if I have to show something else, it's going to be there. It's exactly what we're referring to. So the blue color for both, so the headlight and the light bar, and the red for that as well. Okay, the value will be our original color. So the original blue color that we have here. So we're going to drag that there. We're going to do a get, and I'm going to plug this right there for the value. And now here's the red, so we're going to take our original red, drag it there, do a get, and we're going to put it right there. If we are not modifying the color, it's going to be our normal red and blue, right? So let's see if it's worked just for that. So we have our vehicle right there. We have the modified color. We don't want the modified color, and we want the lights on. As you can see here, the lights has changed to black, right? But it's because here there's no lights set up yet. So what I'm going to do, so this one is I'm just going to extend the blue. So we're going to put blue here. Make sure that we do both. And this one will be the red. So we're going to put red. And no modifier. You can see that something is happening. And here there's nothing. So the lights is on, and the polite will be, I don't know, we're going to put red as well. You can see now there's some stuff happening, but it's not set up yet. But you can see that it starts to take place. So we're going to keep going in this and make sure that everything works. So when it's modified, it's this. So we need to do the pod lights. Pod lights, we have 4 pod lights for our vehicle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this 4 times. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that right under here. And we need a little bit more. So we need a couple more pins until we reach 5. Number 2 will be connected up here. So we're going to take number 2, put it up here. Number 3, put it up there. We're going to remove all of that for now, and we are going to do the same thing once again. So we're going to take all of that, and we're going to move it right down here. This one will be to 4, and this one will be to 5. There we go. So now it's going to be exactly a little bit like this. So we're just going to change different value here. So I'm just going to move that down, and I'm just going to do a little comment here so we know exactly what this is doing for us. So actually this one will be I'm going to remove this one will be the headlight, and this one here will be the emergency light. So as you can see now, so just to keep that a little bit organized so we know exactly what the code is doing, I'm going to put that right in the middle, so something around this. Now we're going to take this, and this one will be our pod lights. So we're going to do a comment on that. So we can just do C on your keyboard to do a comment. Pod light color. Okay, so we have the pod light. Now we need to connect all our pod light. So that's very simple. So we're going to start with pod light 1. We're going to put here, it's going to be our target. Perfect. So we have pod light 0, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. So now we need the index for each. So the index for this one is 0. So if we go back to our police vehicle so we can see what index they have. So we get on pod light here, you can see that the index is 0. Okay, so we're going to put 0. So what we can do, we can drag from one of them and just promote that to a variable, and we are going to call that the value for pod light. Well, actually it's already done. We did that a little bit earlier, so we're going to delete this one, and we're just going to take our value here for the headlight. Let me check here. Actually, we're going to duplicate that once again, and that one will be the value for the pod light, and we're going to put it right here. So we're going to compile. So the value by default need to be 0. So make sure it's 0 here. We're going to plug this right there for all of it. There we go. Perfect. So now it's all plugged. We're gonna keep going, and we need the source material. As you remember, the source material is the original material that we have. So we should have an original source material. So this one here. So we're gonna drag it up here. We're gonna do a set, and we're gonna plug this everywhere. So if we click on the source material, right, we have the original police material. So it's exactly what we want. So from that, we're just going to move a little bit on the side here. And this one will be the original red and blue. So we're going to take the original blue. So it's right here. So original blue. We're going to take that, put it right there. And we can put it to like in the middle. So we can attach the value to all of it. And we're going to do the same thing with the red original. There we go. So now we have the original. So make sure that the original blue need to be blue. So we're going to make sure that we put that to blue. All right. So 0, 0, 1. So we have blue here, and this one need to be red. So we're going to put that to red. So our original are red and blue. Perfect. So now technically this should work when we do no modifier. However, if we go back to our event graph here, the viewport, so we're going to go back there, and if you click on the lights here, you can see that we have the default value right there, which is good. So we need to make sure that it's default, right? So this and this, so it should be there by default. So make sure you have no, from the previous video we had the material for the police here. So make sure that you put that to normal. So the first one here is vehicle lights, and this one is the vehicle car 1323. So make sure you put that back to normal. All right, that's important. Otherwise, your lights, when you're going to turn it off, will still flash, and it's not what we want. Right? And same thing with the pod light. So if you click off one of the pod light, you need to make sure this is back to normal element. So if you have a police light here, make sure of all of your pod lights that you deactivate and you put the normal, so you'll be all good with that. If we go back here to our construction script, so technically now if we activate the modifier, we should have our normal color. So let's go back here. As you can see here, I click on this car, remove the lights, lights are turning off, press again, lights are on, and if I, that's the original one. If I click modified, nothing's happening because we didn't do the modify yet, but you can see that it's starting to take place and it's working. We're going to go back to our vehicle here, and now we're going to do the modified. So if it's true, we want to go to modify. So we're going to drag from there, and from that we're going to do another selection, and a selection but another sequence. So we're going to connect the sequence to true here, and same, we're going to need a couple of sequence to do. So we need 5. So we're going to do until we reach number 5, as you can see here. And it's going to be very, very similar to this. So what we can do to save a little bit of time, we can take all of that, copy and paste it right there. And we can do the same thing again with that and put it right there. And now what we have to do, we're going to connect 0 to 0 and 1 to 1 and so on. and perfect. So now our modifier is this, but now we have to change a few of the value that we want to modify. I'm gonna start from the top here. So this will stay the same because we want to target the same number when it's modified, so this won't change. This, however, will not change either, but this one here is the original source material. We're gonna need the modified source material. So if we go that, we have an original here. We're gonna duplicate this, and we're gonna do a duplicate, not a duplicate, but a modified. So let's do modify source material. And when we click on this one, we're going to compile, can access the default value, but we don't want the original here. We want the modified. So we're going to search for modified, and we're going to take the modified police one right here. So I'm just going to organize that. I'm going to move that up here and put the modified together. So modified there and modified there. So everything is all together. It's a little bit easier to see where everything is. Perfect. So we have the original here, but we want the modifier right there, right? So we're gonna take our modify source material, and we can just drag it over here right on the edge, and it's gonna change it for the modified one, okay? And we have the original light in blue. We need the modify light in blue, so we're gonna take the modify light in blue, put it right there. Same thing with the red and blue, and take the red and blue and put it right there. And everything else still the same because we didn't change anything. So we're gonna go back to the modifier for the pod lights. So we have to change this one. So we're gonna have the modify source material, just drag it over, and the original red and blue. We need the modify red and blue. So we're gonna take the blue first and the red after. So now everything has been changed. So technically this one should work as well. So let's try it out. I'm gonna compile first, go back to our map. And this car, we want the modified. So we're gonna take the modify here. As you can see, there's a modifier light. So if we move that a little bit bigger so we can see which one is what. So we have the blue here. So we're gonna put the blue to yellow. As you can see, it's already taking place. And the other color, we'll put purple. And the pod light, I'll put, let's put kind of teal color. So if I go back there, you see the pod light seems to not work, so we're gonna have to fix that, but the other lights are working perfectly. So if we turn off the modifier, it's gonna go to red and blue. Turn off the lights, turn on the lights back on and modify. So we can see that it's starting to take place, but there's a little mistake on the pod light itself. So we're gonna go back to our modify pod light. We're gonna modify those two here, so we have to change that for the modify pod light. We should have a modify pod light right here, so we're gonna drag that right over. There we go. So now it should be better, and we can leave it as this color. So let's see if everything has changed. There we go, perfect. So you can see now it's working. So we have all different colors, and we can take the vehicle, duplicate this, and change the color for this one. So let's go for different color. So you can see that everything is kind of working. We're gonna make sure that we are, so we have the no color, no lights, modify the color. Perfect. So you can see that it's working. So we have purple here, so we can change to another colors, not getting confused. We can see now we have different colors, so everything is working perfectly. So I think that will be this for this video. So you should have something that look like this. It's maybe look complicated, but it's not really complicated. It's just doing the same code over and over. So on this, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.